Happy Friday! Almost made it to the weekend. In fact, if you stand on your tiptoes, you can actually see the weekend. If you're tall like I am, you don't even have to stand on your tiptoes. How are you? It's Friday, 25th day of September 2020. I'm Dan Kuntz, jam-packed program for you today. Lots going on, a little bit of light rain right now, mostly cloudy skies, 50 degrees, off and on rain. Most of the day today, tapers off this afternoon. Wind picks up late this afternoon into tonight as the second system of the three that were in this parade of systems comes through. But that third system kind of blotted out. I just kind of want to, if that's an actual word. So we're in for not a bad weekend. A lot of sunshine on Sunday. It looks like we're going to be dry Saturday night at the WYSO. We like that because they don't race in the rain. So we're all looking pretty good. Pretty happy about it. Forecast details are coming up. We got news. We'll preview the Seahawks and the Cowboys. We'll preview the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval for tomorrow night. In fact, my guest in the back half of the hour will be the general manager of Wenatchee Valley's Super Oval, the track man himself, Jeremy Enders. Let's see what we got going on out here in the Wenatchee Valley with our cross cameras. As you can see, it is cloudy. Had a little bit of light rain about 5:45, tapered off a little bit, then it came back. That's what we're looking at today, and that's what we're going to be looking at most of the day today. It's going to be cloudy. Again, light rain off and on, intermittent rain. Should be done by about 3 or so, they tell us. It's going to be breezy tonight. Very little rain is in the forecast for the weekend. And boy, is it going to get warm next week. Next week, we welcome October, but it's going to feel more like August. Can't wait to give you those details. That's, of course, our cross camera, located adjacent to the cross at the tip of Wenatchee Heights. From this point forward, Megan gets to decide. It's her choice. She says, let's go visit Rude Canyon. Hey, got one right. Hi, Rude Canyon. Good to see ya. Beautiful area up there. It seems to be kind of above the cloud cover a little bit. Rude Canyon on your way up to Waterville and other places. Good to see ya. Beautiful view up there. Camera number 3. Don't know where we're off to. That looks to be Manson. Hey, the Manson Water Tower, I believe. You can just barely make out Lake Chelan off there in the distance as the orchards are getting their job done. What are we down to now on the harvest? I guess apples and maybe a few pears, and that's about it, I think, for the harvest, fruit harvest anyway. Looks like it's raining a little bit up there to the north of Manson. And camera number 4. It's off to Lake Wenatchee, the Two Rivers camera. We've got the White River and the Little Wenatchee, who flows into the top of Lake Wenatchee, and then of course it becomes just plain the Wenatchee River at the bottom of the lake. Looks like it's raining there as well. I love Lake Wenatchee when it gets autumn. The leaves, of course, change earlier than other places because it's cooler and it's wetter and it's all kind of cool. I just like it up there. It's a beautiful area. Lake Wenatchee in autumn is gorgeous. I noticed a few of the trees are starting to have their leaves change color. Don't get too far ahead of yourself, leaves. It's going to feel like summer next week. Good morning to our friends at Lake Wenatchee. Thanks for starting your day with us on the NCWLIFE channel. 2 slides from the National Weather Service. First of all, your rain totals. This is for this morning to tomorrow morning, the 24-hour period, 5 a.m. today to 5 a.m. tomorrow. Not a lot here in the Wenatchee Valley. Again, we're in the lee of the Cascades, which is going to keep us from getting a great deal of rain. Right at the tip of the Cascades is where most of the rain is going to come by. As you saw, it was raining at Lake Wenatchee. They're going to get more rain. Leavenworth will get more rain to the north of us. In the Methow Valley and the Omak Okanagan area, perhaps a little bit more rain. Heaviest rain is really going to be in the Idaho Panhandle and far western Montana. We're going to be fairly dry, just light rain off and on for most of the day today until we get to the early afternoon. Then we should be done with that. And then the winds pick up. Late this afternoon into the evening hour, we're going to have some big-time winds. So for those places that get wind, you're going to get wind, and you're going to get more of it, as a matter of fact. We're looking at winds tonight, this afternoon and tonight, about 16 to 20 miles an hour. But we're going to have gusts above 30 miles an hour. The strongest winds, by far, will be out in the Columbia Basin and up on the Waterville Plateau. And, of course, there are areas that are susceptible to stronger winds that are exposed, and you're going to have either stronger winds than that. Gusts here in the Wenatchee Valley, again, somewhere between 30 to 35 miles an hour. We're not going to see gusts, I think, to 40 or 45, but out in the Columbia Basin, you could. Most of the wind for the Wenatchee Valley will be late this afternoon into the early evening hours. And by the way, we have flipped the 12-hour mark. I haven't mentioned this. Sunrise this morning, 6:52. Sunset tonight, 6:51. So 11 hours, 59 minutes of daylight on this Friday. Going to take a break, come back with your news. The forecast. Yeah, thank you, Megan. Yeah, we should probably do the forecast. Jeez, do you think it's Friday? Again, rain off and on. Most of the heaviest rain will come down before noon, then a couple of stray raindrops here and there. Everybody's going to get a little bit of rain, no question about that. High today of about 69 degrees, 46 for the overnight low tonight. Going to be chilly. It's 49 right now outside of our studios. As I mentioned before, late this afternoon, early evening, a lot of wind we're going to be dealing with. It should be tapering off for the most part. It's still going to be breezy on Saturday, but for the most part, we'll have some sunshine on Saturday. Again, just a tad windy, right around 70 or so for the afternoon high. Going to be chilly Saturday night, 44 for the overnight low. A little breezy at times on Saturday night. Sunshine Sunday, 71 degrees. Big ridge of high pressure is going to start really entrenching itself on Monday. We'll be up to 77, then 80, then mid-80s on Wednesday and Thursday. National Weather Service says this ridge of high pressure is going to be covering most of the western United States, and it's going to last for most of next week. I have no complaints about that because we're not going to have any smoke. Because the last time we had a big ridge of high pressure, we had a bunch of smoke from the fires. That's not going to be the case next week. It looks good. Now we'll take a break. Then we'll come back with your Friday morning news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
Pybus Public Market's motto is where community meets. Whether it's people, enjoying an event, or they meet a colleague for coffee and whip out their laptop and are able to actually do work here, having quick and reliable Wi-Fi is one of the things that makes Pybus such a great community hub. It just contributes to the welcoming place that we want Pybus to be. I'm Allie, and fiber keeps people connected, and that's what Pybus Market is all about.
Join NCWLIFE channel for another night at the races, Saturday at Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. It's the Neil Newberry 125 presented by Pepsi for the Northwest Super Late Model Series. It's also the Tommy Wentz Classic for the Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning Thunder Cars. There's also the Holaday Custom Muffler B-Mods and the Plumb Perfect Roadrunners. Coverage starts at 6 Saturday live on the NCWLIFE channel, your local TV station.
Minutes after the hour on this Friday. Cloudy, 49 degrees, some light rain. We'll have rain off and on for most of the morning. Tapers off this afternoon. Wind late this afternoon and tonight. And then a fairly pleasant weekend coming our way. And then sunny and warm for most of next week. Here's your Friday morning news. Health authorities announced yesterday the Chelan-Douglas region has seen its 23rd death due to COVID-19. He was a Chelan County patient, a man in his 40s. The registration of his death comes as the Wenatchee Valley is working to turn that corner in overall coronavirus cases and its infection rate. It's the 5th COVID-19 mortality announced by the two-county Chelan-Douglas Health District this week. 55 people tested positive for COVID-19 at a community-wide testing event last week. This was in Moses Lake and in Quincy. The Grant County Health District said it's still sorting through the data. But out of 502 people tested in Quincy, there were 30 cases. That's a 6% positive rate. In Moses Lake, they tested 262 people and 25 came back positive. That's a 25% positive rate. Grant County has seen a surge in positive tests in recent weeks, but the health district said Wednesday the number of new cases has begun to flatten out somewhat. Meanwhile, in Chelan and Douglas counties, the number of positive COVID-19 cases continues to drop. For the weekend in September 23rd, the two-county number of positive cases was at 162 per 100,000. According to Governor Jay Inslee's Stay Home, Stay Safe plan, that number needs to be at 25 cases per 100,000 over a 2-week period to move up to a different phase. A Wenatchee man faces felony stalking charges after allegedly cornering a woman inside her home and assaulting her. Police say the victim had a valid restraining order against 39-year-old Douglas Lowell Atchison, but he repeatedly called and searched for her before arriving at her home last Friday. Atchison allegedly used ethnic slurs and threatened the life of an Hispanic Wenatchee police officer while he was being taken to jail, and allegedly tried to headbutt another officer. As a result, police say they'll seek additional charges of felony harassment and third-degree assault. Atchison has previously been convicted of charges including drug offenses and a drive-by shooting back in 2001. A Rock Island man who admitted to sexually victimizing a 14-year-old girl pled guilty Wednesday to third-degree child rape. 28-year-old Nicholas Robert Clerk confessed to the rape in June after the teen disclosed the incident. When he's sentenced next month in Chelan County Superior Court, Clerk faces a likely prison term of 26 to 34 months with a maximum of 5 years. This is his second conviction, by the way, for third-degree child rape. At the age of 20, he served 1 year for victimizing a 15-year-old in Douglas County. After the Pearl Hill fire roared through northern Douglas County, residents there had to watch out for the next possible catastrophe. Our very own Jefferson Robbins reports that an alphabet soup of governmental agencies are working to shore up the region against post-fire hazards, including the potential for floods.
The Pearl Hill fire scorched more than 220,000 acres of farm fields, rangeland, sagebrush, and grass. After breaking out on Labor Day, it took more than a week for fire crews to contain it and for life to return to normal in towns like Bridgeport, where homes were lost and power and water supplies were badly interrupted. Now begins the damage assessment. Agents from Douglas County, the State Department of Ecology, Chelan-Douglas Health District, U.S. Geology Service, and Washington State Emergency Management are working to map the dangers left behind by such a large fire event. For one thing, the Emergency Management Office must conduct what's called a hazardous materials damage assessment. Pollutants and chemicals left behind by the fire could pose a future risk. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office says asbestos is likely to be present in several burned structures, and such dangerous materials will need to be safely disposed of. In the meantime, property owners should not disturb damaged structures or waste material from the fires, unless it's been tested and determined not to contain any hazardous substances. As rainfall gathers this autumn, the massive burned areas pose a risk of mudslides and flooding. Properties most at risk are those within alluvial fans, the drainage areas at the mouth of a water-formed canyon. A sudden flood event in the channels above an alluvial fan can be catastrophic for homes and buildings situated below. Douglas County says more information for landowners on how to protect their property and apply for assistance will be available in coming days. Jefferson Robbins, NCWLIFE.
Thank you for that report, Jefferson. We appreciate it. That's what's making news at 13 minutes after the hour. We'll have a newscast for you tonight at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock as we endeavor to keep you, our viewers, in the loop on what's going on in North Central Washington. And with the preview, here's the anchor, Grant Olson.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCWLIFE Evening News, Grant County Sheriff's deputies are looking for a 32-year-old man who allegedly beat up a 73-year-old Moses Lake man, then stole his car, money, and guns. Wet and windy weather in our North Central Washington weather forecast. I'll have the details. And Eric Granstrom will be in with all the latest news regarding the Mariners and Seahawks in sports. That and all the day's news headlines coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCWLIFE Evening News. We hope you'll join us then. Dan?
Thank you, Grant. If you have a news tip, you want to drop us a line, we'd love to hear from you. Look at the bottom of your screen. Those are the different ways you can get a hold of us. You can pick up the telephone and give us a call during regular business hours. You can email us, news@ncwlife.com. That's our email address. You can contact us via our Facebook page. Just use Facebook Messenger or via our homepage at ncwlife.com. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to preview the final night of racing at the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. We'll talk Seahawks, we'll talk Mariners, and a whole bunch more. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
Doghouse Motorsports just won Best Motorsports Store for the 7th year in a row. Is it the great facility? Is it the fantastic products? Or is it?
I'm Bobby.
And I'm Tabor.
I'm Mike. And I'm Glenn.
Hi, I'm Todd.
I'm Jeff.
And this is the Doghouse Service Team.
Hi, I'm Dee.
And I'm Dwayne.
And I'm Kathy.
Come on in and experience the Doghouse.
Are you in the Doghouse? Hey
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. A chill is in the air and it's a perfect time for some old-fashioned comfort food like our amazing Eggs Benedict, chicken fried steak, French dips, soups made from scratch, or fruit pies fresh from the oven. The crowds might be gone, but we're still here for you folks. So bring an appetite and a friend to Blueberry Hills in Manson, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. Open Wednesday through Sunday from 8 to 3. wildaboutberries.com.
We're back at quarter after the hour. Sports. Wenatchee Valley Super Oval wraps up their COVID-19 shortened season tomorrow night with a whole slew of races. Track manager Jeremy Andrews says it's been a financial challenge considering that this year, their 50th anniversary, is going to be the biggest year yet.
We had some big things planned for this year. We were actually, the 1st of April, we were going to do all these really cool things. And because that's our 2 weeks to get the track ready, and that budget went out the door when we had no fans like that. So, and you know, it's tough. We're going to be putting a call out pretty soon for our season pass holders. All our season pass holders from last year are going to get, they get credit for this next year, but that's how we make it financially in the off season. It's going to be pretty scary because we don't have that going into. If you think of our business too, if you look down to it, we're operating this year off of 20% of our normal income. We don't have any fans in the stands. We only got 7 of our 14 events in, no concession sales, no beer sales, none of that stuff there. So, we still have we pay out our racers, so they still get a purse. But, we have things like our insurance, we have our lease payments like that, water bill. We try to keep that grass as green as we can up there like that.
Andrews says he's expecting a big field of cars and drivers this weekend for the season finale, especially for 2 very special tribute races.
It's the Neil Newberry 125, which is a great race for the super late models. 31 cars right now pre-entered.
Wow.
So we're going to have another B main event, start qualifying, I think 5:30 on Facebook, and then we're going to go live on the TV at 6 o'clock. But honoring Neil Newberry, was a great long-time Wenatchee racer. And then we have the Tommy Wentz Classic, which Tom. I mean, Tommy's a great guy.
Yeah.
Been around for a long time, raced the track for 5 decades, so we're honoring him with the Tommy Wentz Classic for the Thunder Cars. And I got to say thanks to the Wentz family for stepping up and helping pay the purse for that. So we have a big purse from them. And then the B-Mods and the Plumb Roadrunners. So, the sponsors have been amazing this year. And the racing action, I mean, if you haven't seen one this year, you got to watch it because it's your last chance to see it.
My entire conversation with Jeremy Andrews will air in the back half of this program. The Wenatchee Wild have announced Chris Clark as its permanent head coach. Clark took on the role as interim head coach last season when Bliss Littler had to step away for health reasons. Littler remaining, of course. He's the team's general manager, and Clarkey steps up from his assistant coaching position. He's been with the Wild since the team started playing hockey here in 2008. Clarkey and the Wild will welcome this year's players into town early October. They got a 7-week training camp, and hopefully the COVID-delayed BCHL season will get going on December 1st. Congratulations, Chris Clark. That's good news. Seahawks host the Cowboys Sunday at Century Link Field. Game kicks off at 1:25 in the afternoon. Fox TV features 2 of the NFL's stars at quarterback, Dak Prescott of the Cowboys and a certain Russell Wilson you may have heard of at the Seahawks. Russell says he has a lot of respect for Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I think the thing that Dak does such a great job, and is he remains poised, he remains confident. He seems to have always done that over his career. I've gotten to know him, a little bit over the years, and I just got a lot of respect for how he approaches the game. Honestly, he's a competitor, and so he's one of the best guys in the game. I think in terms of how he plays the game, and even those tight moments and comeback moments, he's been able to do a great job with those.
Of course, it was Prescott and the Cowboys who knocked the Seahawks out of the playoffs a couple of years ago when they beat them 24-22. Shaquille Griffin, the cornerback, says he remembers.
So it's a lot of plays that I'm expecting to see coming back from 2018. So I'm excited to face them again. I was dealing with a couple of injuries then, but I'll definitely be ready now. So I'm excited about that. But I'm not going to do anything extra. I'm not going to do anything different. I'm going to play my game. I feel like that's the main thing we preach around here. We don't make anything up. We don't try to get overexcited. We don't try to do any paybacks or get me backs or anything like that. We just play our game, play ball, play within the lines and our technique. And we're just going to have to do exactly what we need to do. So I'm not going to change anything, but I'm definitely excited for it. 2018, it was pretty rough after that game. So, yeah, I've been thinking about it for a very long time.
Second-year defensive back Ugo Amadi is going to have to step up this week. Of course, Marquise Blair out for this season with a knee injury. Amadi says, hey, His teammate went down, and I feel pretty bad about that.
Seeing my brother Marquise go down, I was really terrified. I was like, man, hopefully it was nothing serious. And then I seen how they had to help him off the field. I was like, man, this isn't looking too good. But at halftime, I told him, Marquise, hey, we're gonna win this game for you, man. And I just went out there. When my name was called, like I said, I answered.
An additional weapon available for Russell this season, rookie wide receiver Freddie Swain caught his first ever career touchdown pass against New England. He credits extra preparation on and off the field.
The Zoom meetings were helpful. We met at the times being, and Russ, we would meet and just go over plays, and then off the field, I would just take my iPad and I would go out there and run the plays and try to make sure I was in shape and make sure I knew when it came to game time, I made sure I knew what I was doing.
Hawks and Cowboys, Sunday, 1:25 on Fox. I hope you enjoyed last night's Jacksonville-Miami game. I didn't. I don't have the NFL Network. People were calling our station yesterday, so where's the game? Where's the Jaguars and the Dolphins? Well, it was only on the NFL Network, so if you didn't have the NFL Network, you couldn't watch it. By the way, Gardner Minshew and the Jaguars went down to defeat. Dolphins won 31-13. Mariners are in Oakland to wrap up the regular season. Seattle plays the A's for the first of 4 games tonight, 6:40. UC Kikuchi will make his final start of the season. He'll go against Chris Bassett. You can watch the action on Root Sports. Listen locally on ESPN Radio AM 900. To the Les Schwab American League West scoreboard from yesterday, George Springer, Jose Altuve, and Alex Bregman all had home runs. Houston drubbed Texas 12-4. That lowers the Astros' magic number to clinch a playoff spot to 1. Walker Buehler came in off the injured list and pitched 4 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts. Dodgers get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They beat Oakland 5-1. 40th win of the season, by the way, for the A's. Finally, a reminder of what's coming up in sports this weekend here on the NCWLIFE channel. Tonight, we got high school football from last fall, the Bulldogs and the Pioneers in Caribou Trail League action. Pregame at 6:30 tonight. We got state playoff girls soccer tomorrow at 2. That's when Eastmont hosts Meade from last November. Eric and Matt Wisen with the play-by-play there. Of course, tomorrow night, live, the season finale at the WVSO, the Neil Newberry 125, the Tommy Wentz Classic. Live coverage on our Facebook page at 5:30 on TV. At 6 o'clock on Sunday, it's Wild Hockey. At 2 o'clock, we got the Wild and West Kelowna Warriors. At 7 o'clock, it's the Wild and the Salmon Arm Silverbacks. Why a hockey team in Canada named themselves after a gorilla, I don't know. I don't think gorillas are native to Canada. And those were just some of the games that people are playing on this Friday. 6 obscure holidays to choose from. Today is National One-Hit Wonder Day. Today is National Comic Book Day. Today is National Tune-Up Day. September 25th is National Research Administrator Day. It's Math Storytelling Day. Nah, not going to do any of them. It's National Lobster Day. Boil up a lobster, dip it in the melted butter, and it's down the road you go. Or you can enjoy lobster Newburg if you can afford it, or lobster bisque, lobster rolls, lobster salads. Of course, lobsters are a delicacy today. It wasn't that way. Back in colonial times, lobsters got very little respect. In fact, they used to feed lobsters to pigs and cattle and goats. And then somebody figured out, hey, what if we dip it in butter? Fun facts about lobsters. The big lobsters are estimated to be about 50 years old. If you're a lobster and you can avoid the lobster pot, you can live up to be 100 years old. Of course, they live at the bottom of the ocean, so they're kind of hard to find. Lobsters never stop growing. They grow until they die. That's pretty impressive. Lobsters practice a little Donner Party action now and again. They're cannibals. If there's nothing else to eat, the lobsters will eat each other. Lobsters taste with their legs and chew with their stomachs. And they are mighty tasty indeed. Happy National Lobster Day. Today in history, September 25th, 1789, 231 years ago today, the Congress passed the first 12 amendments to the Constitution, sent them off to the states for ratification. 10 of them, the original 10, of course, known as the Bill of Rights. The 11th one, the Compensation Amendment, wasn't passed and became part of the Constitution until 1992. And the one that was never ratified was the Congressional Apportionment Amendment. By statute, there are 435 members of the House of Representatives. If they actually ratified the Congressional Apportionment Amendment, there would be one representative in the United States House of Representatives for every 50,000 people. So for every 50,000 citizens, there would be one representative in Congress. If they actually passed that amendment, the House of Representatives would have 6,563 members. That's way too many. Here's a flight you don't want to be on. Ugh. PSA Flight 182. It's happened in San Diego, California, 42 years ago today, September 25th, 1978. They didn't see the Cessna. The Cessna was not where it was supposed to be flying. The Cessna was flying here, and the big old jet was here, and the jet went, boom, right into the top of the Cessna. The Cessna went down to the ground, killed 2 people. The jet went into the ground in San Diego. All 135 aboard the aircraft were killed, 7 people on the ground. One of the most famous photographs ever taken, 42 years ago today. And this is the 40th anniversary of one of the most remarkable feats in rock and roll history. John Bonham, the drummer of Led Zeppelin, at a party at Jimmy Page's house, drinks 40 shots of vodka in 4 hours and died. If you drink 40 shots of vodka in 4 hours, you will die. Officially, he asphyxiated on his own vomit. You don't want to get into it. 32 years old. 40 shots of vodka. Whoa, baby. Goodbye, John. That was 40 years ago today. Let's do birthdays, shall we? Holy cow, the Scooter, Phil Rizzuto, Baseball Hall of Famer, class of 1994, the 1950 American League MVP. Spent 40 years with the Yankee broadcast team. The Yankees cut him loose, and the next day he was in the broadcast booth, and he stayed there for the next 40 years. The great Scooter, Phil Rizzuto. Born in the state in 1917, died 13 years ago at the age of 89. Michael Douglas is 76 years old today. He's got a couple of Oscars. The first Oscar was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And you go, wait a minute, I've seen that movie. He's not in it, but he produced it. Nobody would get near this movie, and Michael Douglas said, I'll produce it. Nobody else will. And of course, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest won the Oscar for Best Picture in 1975. He also won an Oscar for Wall Street. He was fantastic in Romancing the Stone. I love that movie. The China Syndrome, Fatal Attraction. Michael Douglas, 76 years old today. And his wife, Catherine Zeta-Jones, she celebrates her 51st birthday today. So yeah, husband and wife share the same birthday. America's very first supermodel burst on the scene in the 1970s, and now she's in her 70s. Cheryl Tiegs is 73 years old today, the first supermodel. Now they're all over the place, but Cheryl Tiegs gets that little tribute to her. And happy birthday, Donald Glover. This guy is amazingly talented. He acts, he's a screenwriter, he sings, he raps, he's a producer, multi-talented. He's 37 years old today and going strong. Happy birthday to Donald Glover. 28 minutes after the hour, we have a Mike McNaughty opinion that you've never seen before. And then my conversation with Jeremy Anders from Wenatchee Valley's Super Oval. It's coming up. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
Hi, my name is Manuel Navarro, Chief Operating Officer at Columbia Valley Community Health. Patient safety is our top priority, including providing care that just can't wait. With enhanced safety precautions, we want to ensure you that we're able to continue providing safe and efficient in-person care at our clinic. From in-car check-in, ongoing screening, immediate rooming, your family can get the safe care that they deserve here at Columbia Valley Community Health.
Wenatchee Power Sports not only has a new owner, but an all-new attitude to match. Speaking of attitude, check out the 2021 models arriving now. Polaris snowmobiles, ATVs and side-by-sides. Yamaha motorcycles, watercraft ATVs and side-by-sides. KTM motorcycles and the latest edition Beta high-performance motorcycles. Coming this fall, a huge demo event featuring the latest and hottest off-road machines. It's all at the retuned Wenatchee Power Sports, where maximum performance is a way of life. 3031 GS Center Road in North Wenatchee, open Tuesday through Saturday.
Badger Mountain Brewing is proud to announce the grand opening of our new kitchen. Come try out our new menu featuring fabulous steaks, prime rib, gourmet burgers, and seafood grilled up by experienced meat master Chef Galen Goodman. To complement your mouth-watering meal, Badger Mountain Brewing features 14 in-house crafted beers, an alcohol-free root beer infused with 11 different herbs and spices, 3 different ciders, and a great wine selection. Don't miss out on the best meats and the best brews down at Badger Mountain Brewing, located at 1 Orondo Avenue across the tracks from the Pybus Market.
Hey, this is Mike, Mad Dog McNutty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I often think about the social upheaval in the 60s, and I consider those days against what we're going through now. At least now, we're not having the assassinations we had back then. Then and now, there's a lot of similarities. Racial injustice, police reform, political division, but one thing I've noticed, in the 60s, it seems like it was us against the establishment. Now it seems like we're more against each other. Give that some thought. This is Mike, Mad Dog McNutty, and that's my opinion.
Introducing the most capable Sierra lineup ever.
The Meat Shop in Chelan has all the meats, homemade side dishes, sauces, and rubs you need for a summer feast. The Meat Shop opens 6 days a week to serve you in downtown Chelan.
More than a health food store, it's your good food store. Bear Foods and Cafe Creperie, a feast for the eyes and the palate.
For the Chelan Valley's most unique tasting experience, visit One Wines, a true boutique winery producing only 1 white, 1 rosé, and 1 red with a rare exceptional vintage. Limited to 800 cases per year. Visit One Wines today.
Collins Fashions announces their buy one, get one free sale on all Red Tag clothing. Brands that you love like Tribal, Jag, French Dressing, Joseph Ribcop, Foxcroft, Liverpool, Cut, etc., etc. Dresses, tees, blouses, ankle pants, and capris. Just remember, buy one item and get the next item of equal or lesser value free. New fall jeans, slacks, tops, sweaters, boots arriving daily. Brighton fall jewelry collections are stunning. Time for a new handbag, ladies. All at Collins, where fun meets fashion in downtown Wenatchee.
It's been a year unlike any other year, COVID-wise. We all know that. We've been dealing with it across the board. Us here at the NCWLIFE channel, no exception, especially when it came to televising sports, which is one of the backbones of this television station. We were sailing right along in January and February. We were doing bowling and basketball, and then came March, came COVID, and it all came crashing down, and we have not been able to do any local sports broadcast, with one exception. And this has been a great marriage between Wenatchee Valley's Super Oval and us here at the NCWLIFE channel. We have learned a lot. He has learned a lot. My guest this morning, the general manager of Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. I'm sorry, the name again?
Jeremy.
Jeremy. I'm going to write that down. Jeremy Anders. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. It's the final race week of the year.
It's all over on the 26th, but who's kidding who? We didn't think in April and even in May that you were going to be racing at all, and then one night you had an epiphany, and you texted Eric, and it all came together.
Yeah, they had we were on track to have the 50th year of WYSO racing of the Super Oval, so we were really excited about it. We had looked forward to this year for so long. We were on track to have probably one of the biggest, greatest years ever in the history of the track. We had so many things planned to celebrate this year. Our car counts were looking amazing. Our sponsorships were looking amazing. All that stuff's looking amazing. Come March 20, whatever it was, got the news, and like, okay, well, we're going to cancel our first race. We'll kind of hold off from there, whatever. And then as it looks further, okay, we're canceling our second and our third race, okay. And about May 15th or 16th, they started coming down with some rules. They said we were allowed to start doing practice sessions and stuff like that. And some tracks had talked about racing, and they were going to do some racing events. So you're allowed to do participant-only events. So we looked at doing that, and some tracks started doing like pay-per-view stuff. And I just like, it's tough for me to do pay-per-view to really give value to our people and stuff like that. And it was like the first week of June or second week of June, and I said, I want to do racing. I want to start doing some racing events, talk to our people. They said, we'll do it. We had talked to our racers. They talked about doing a reduced purse. Some of our sponsors stepped up, said, hey, we'll support you guys. And, I was thinking about it. I have a relationship with you guys just over the years for so long between different things. And, we do, I'm thinking like high school sports because, you guys covered bowling and I got to do that. And I'm like, what if we did it on NCWLIFE? It's local and we could stream it so people everywhere could watch it. And text Eric and I said, hey, I have a really good idea. And it was like 10:30 or 10:45 at night, which I know Eric usually gets up pretty early in the morning. And he responded back and he's like, okay, like I knew he's up still, which is interesting. But he's like, I think I have an idea. And so we talked the next day, and within about, I think, 48 hours, we had this all put together. And first race, June 27th. And, you guys were all kind of rookies to it in a sense. I've been around it a while, so I kind of gave you guys a little helpful hints. We had a Star Rental step up, which has been amazing with the man lifts and giving us great coverage there. North Valley Mechanical supported us as well. All the sponsors who supported us through this thing. But, we've worked hard. I feel like, the broadcast has gotten better and better and better. We've had some on-track incidents. So it's like the weeks that you guys were doing amazing on your side, we had on-track things that delayed us with oil downs like that. Then the one week where we were like perfect on the track, we had no oil downs, the weather was great, the transmitter issue goes out. So it's like, but we all, my idea is September 26th, this Saturday will be the perfect storm for the perfect race, and we will have everything go right, and knock on wood.
We have learned a lot, and you are spot on. Each race that we broadcast, from a technical standpoint, from a broadcasting standpoint, we got better and better and better.
Oh yeah.
We started to figure out what we were doing. The first thing we discovered, we knew it, but we didn't really know it, is it's loud. And all of a sudden, we can't talk to one another for the first race. We got new headsets, because here at the NCWLIFE channel, God bless our ownership, they give us the tools that we need to do the broadcast. We've had to deal with all kinds of issues, and yet we've pulled it off. And then, of course, a couple of weeks ago, I was on vacation. Here comes the smoke. Here comes the smoke. We have highlights, by the way, of a couple of weeks ago at Wenatchee Valley's Super Oval. And while we roll the highlights, talk about the challenges that you've had with your folks to pull this off, because this is new for you too, having television come.
Yeah, so we base our night office schedules with that, and I will tell you, on Friday night of this week, it was looking like we had probably the cleanest air. There's kind of like a little vortex up there in that little valley there, and we had the cleanest air on Friday night. And Saturday morning, I was up there about 10 o'clock, and it was clear on Saturday morning. And then as the day goes on, it goes birth. And by the time we got to the late model main event on this night, it was really, really bad. But it's all gone now. We got clear skies. We're good to go. But we talked to our drivers about that. Say, hey, we're our racing action now. It's not for fans in the stands. It's for people on TV. So we're running a TV show here. We got a short amount of time, and I feel like they've gotten better and better at like being on times like that. The racing action this year, it's actually been unbelievable. You can see it on here, side-by-side racing.
Very entertaining.
Very entertaining. The kids right here in the Bandoleros, those kids are 8 to 14 years old. They have been so good this year. We've seen some scary stuff from them, but been very impressed with all of them this year. Having the ticker, the scoring ticker down there was great. We have our junior late models there on the track, and it's been tough. I think the worst part with the TV is when you do get those oil downs. It's tough, especially if a car only oils down a little bit of the track. It's not that, it takes maybe 10 minutes to pick up. But when you have a track that maybe makes 1 or 2 circles around the track, it takes a while. Even with 10 guys out there, you got to lay it down, you got to scrub it in, because you got to make sure this track surface is safe for these drivers. And we always make sure that our surface is some of the best racing surface. So it's been good. And I think this weekend you are going to see, we've had great racing all year long, but this weekend it's going to cap down to be some of the best racing we've had all year.
In fact, closing out the season, the big one, of course, is going to be the new Neil Newberry 125, presented by Pepsi. We'll talk about that. 1 point race was wrapped up 2 weeks ago.
We had a few of them. So we had the junior late models capped up. So Katie Moran won the junior late model championship, the Mountain Dew junior late models. We had Allie Mae Jones won the Bandolero championship. And then Michael Knutson won the Jerry's Valley Supply Pro Late Model Championship. So 3 champions been crowned so far. We'll crown 3 more champions this weekend. The Roadrunners, the Plumb Perfect Roadrunners, the Dixie Air Conditioning Thunder Cars, and the Holiday's Custom Muffler B-Mod. So 6 champions we crowned this year.
We do have the point standings, and we're going to bring those up. Of course, Seth Frazier is leading in the Thunder Car division. There you go. It's Seth, and then Terry, and then Cameron. They're all going to be there?
Yeah, they're all going to be there. So 80 points possible on the night for those divisions there. So anything could happen. I mean, we've seen them happen before. You get about 20 points for qualifying fast, 10 points for winning your heat race, and 50 points for the main event. So a 37-point gap can be made up there between Terry and Seth. I mean, if Seth can stay safe all race long, he should be fine. There's some good battles, though. Our Roadrunners, same thing there. There's about a 40-point gap there. Roadrunners, we've changed stuff quite a bit, but you see the battle for second place there. 1 point between Brandon Knuff and Carlin Coker. So you're going to see battles like that. I mean, the funny thing was the Bandoleros, the young kids. We had 3 points separating 2 points separating the top 3 drivers going that last race, and it was, I mean, we didn't know until the very end of who was going to win it. So that's the exciting thing about it.
And finally, the Holaday is custom muffler B mods. Of course, if it's named after the business, you automatically get bonus points, right?
Chad's been an anchor of that class there. And this is a new class that we started back up. We had the class about 10 years ago. The car count has not been the best this year, and one of the reasons is because of the COVID stuff. We had guys who didn't think we were going to race at all, so they quit working on their cars. But right now, we currently have at least 6 cars under construction for next year that are new cars, and we're hearing of more. There's actually 2 more cars that just got finished. I don't know if they're going to make it out this weekend or not, just because they're waiting on the final 1 or 2 parts of their engines. But next year, we'll probably see that class 10 or 12 cars, and they're cool-looking cars. The modifieds are fun-looking cars, so they're always great to watch race.
I learned something about the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval this year. I'd heard stories about, they call themselves the racing family, and I believed it because it's the people who were telling me about the racing family or people who are in the know. But I got to see it firsthand. You don't get to see it behind the scenes in the pits, but it is a racing family at the WYSO. Everybody kind of, if something goes wrong, somebody yells help and everybody comes running. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, on the track, they're competitive and they'll beat and they'll bang. And as you've seen, there's been some wrecks that have happened on purpose this year and other stuff. But, you know, let's say a driver, you know, has a small issue, blows a tire, wrecks on the track, and they come to the pits. I mean, you're going to see probably, you know, you kind of see it sometimes. You'll see 10, 15 people who run towards that car. Well, they only have 2 or 3 people on their crew. It's just everybody wants to get them back on track. And, you know, if somebody breaks apart, you know, people will start walking part to part, or somebody knows that they say, hey, oh, so-and-so has that part, or hey, you know, like let's say it's a team from Seattle. There's 3 or 4 race shops that are really close to the track there, right at the top of the hill. They'll run up there and maybe they have to use a welder, or they break apart on Friday night during practice. They go and they use their shop to work on the car on Saturday so they can race. So it's a pretty amazing support we have there.
Yeah, why is that? Because they simply want as much competition as they can on the track? How do you quantify how everybody kind of helps everybody else out there behind the scenes?
You know, I've grown up with it, so I don't know anything different about it. I mean, that's just the way it's been. I think it's because it's different sport. You're you know, in a sense, it's a sport you're competing against each other, but you're also like, I mean, the biggest thrive they get is putting a show on for the fans. So now there's no fans in the grandstands, but they're putting a show on for the fans on TV. And so it's like kind of a 2-part effort. But I mean, your race days are long race days. You're there from 12 to 10, you know, 22 nights, usually a summer. And so, you know, some of these traveling series, they travel with each other all year long. You know, it's some of the best times that I can say, you know, I've enjoyed in my life have been in the pits after a race or in the campground at a racetrack during a race weekend, just because the stories that are shared and the times and, you know, the people, there's such a fierce competitor, you know, when they're on the track and you get them off the track, you start talking to them and you learn their personalities. And I've had the chance to know most, you know, a lot of these racers a long time in my life. And so you know how they are on the track, and sometimes they're completely opposite off the track. So, but I think it's just, we care about each other. I mean, if somebody gets hurt or like that, it really takes a toll on the drivers and affects on the drivers like that. I believe we have one of the best safety crews there is up there at any racetrack, and they care about our drivers as much too. I mean, if a driver, we've had a couple instances this year, and our safety crews right there, they make sure those drivers are okay. We have a great relationship with Ballard Ambulance. So it's a family all together. Randy's Towing, they've been a great supporter as well. And, you know, they want to make sure our drivers get back out there. If, you know, our safety guys don't work on the cars, but they make sure they get the cars back in the pits as fast as they can so they get it worked on it and back out there. And I mean, we had a couple cars wrecked that last race, the junior late models wreck on the heat race, and we thought we might have 2 late models come main event time. And those cars came off the tow trucks, and within, probably a minute, there was guys from different crews jumping in, helping, and stuff like that. And it warms your heart to see that happen.
And there were a lot of first-timers this year. We talked to them, either they finished in the top 3, or Eric had a chance to talk to them behind the scenes in the pits a couple days before the racing. And they all said the same thing. Always wanted to race at the WYSO, never got a chance, and they really enjoy not only the track, but the atmosphere that you and your crew put together for these folks to come in from out of town and race.
You know, we feel like we have put together a great staff up there, and we're on a reduced staff too. We're not fully functioning because of you know, either be financial reasons or just COVID restrictions like that. We don't have our full staff like we normally would on a race weekend, but the staff we have up there, they really love being there. They want to make sure the racers feel welcome, and we want those racers to come back, and we want those racers to go home and say, hey, you know, next time I have an open weekend at my, you know, we want them to support their home track, but if they have an open weekend and come back and race, and I think this weekend I have 4 or 5 drivers coming in to race with our local divisions who have never raced there as well. And Wenatchee's kind of a special place. It's an interesting track. The track surface is, you know, it's an amazing track surface to race on, and we're actually going to do some changes to make it even better than the off-season stuff. So.
Is that something you're willing to address right now, Jeremy?
No.
Okay.
But we're always trying to make things better and make it better for the racers, better for the fans, like that. So we're always, you know, moving the clock. We had some big things planned for this year. We were actually the 1st of April. We were going to do all these really cool things, and because that's our 2 weeks to get the track ready, and that budget went out the door when we had no fans like that. So, and you know, it's tough. We're going to be putting a call out pretty soon for our season pass holders. All of our season pass holders from last year are going to get, you know, they get credit for this next year, but that's how we make it financially in the off season. It's going to be pretty scary because we don't have that going into. If you think of our business too, if you look down to it, we're operating this year off of 20% of our normal income. You know, we don't have any fans in the stands. We only got 7 of our 14 events in, no concession sales, no beer sales, none of that stuff there. So, you know, we still have we pay out our racers, so they still get a purse. But, you know, we have things like our insurance, we have our lease payments like that, you know, water bill. We try to keep that grass as green as we can up there like that. And Fancher Heights, unfortunately, is not on irrigation. It's city water, so
it's pretty expensive.
It gets pretty expensive like that. People don't realize how expensive the insurance check is always one of those fun ones we have to watch like that. Then we have to pay our stats like that. But, you know, there's bills all year long that we have to pay. And so we want to keep the track there. It's been there for 50 years. Our sponsors have been amazing. I can't think... I got a text right before this show, and it's a racing family all the way from our fans all the way to our sponsors, and they care about it. I mean, we had a relationship with Jerry's for 50 years. I mean, 50 years with Jerry's Auto Supply as a sponsor of that track. Pepsi's been there for so long, great supporters there. Dixie Air Conditioning stepped up big time this year. We also have our friends at Plumb Perfect, Johnson Electric, Holiday's Custom Muffler, I mean, North Valley Mechanical, Kuntz and Construction. I mean, I can just name all, and they're so amazing they do. We have them all on our website on there. Also this weekend, we have, it's the Neil Newberry 125, which is a great race for the super late models. 31 cars right now pre-entered.
Wow.
So we're going to have another B main event, start qualifying, I think 5:30 on Facebook, and then we're going to go live on the TV at 6 o'clock. But honoring Neil Newberry, was a great long-time Wenatchee racer. And then we have the Tommy Wentz Classic, which you know Tom. I mean, Tommy's a great guy.
Yeah.
Been around for a long time. Raced the track for 5 decades, so we're honoring him with the Tommy Wentz Classic for the Thunder Cars. And I got to say thanks to the Wentz family for stepping up and helping pay the purse for that. So we have a big purse from them. And then the B-Mods and the Plumb Perfect Roadrunners. So, you know, the sponsors have been amazing this year. And the racing action, I mean, if you haven't seen one this year, you got to watch it because it's your last chance to see it.
Well, according to our Facebook numbers and our analytics that we have access to, a lot of people are watching the races on Saturday night on this TV station and on the Facebook page. The response, quite frankly, was surprisingly overwhelming to us. There's that many fans out there who are watching.
You know, if you don't believe our fans, go look at some of our pictures. I mean, last year, we knew that this year was going to be huge for us. We were on track to have probably our biggest crowds ever. Last year, we broke records on some of our crowds. When we had fans, and I guarantee you, with knowing the car count that we had the last race on the 12th and the car count we would have this weekend here, we probably would have had, I'm guessing, 4 to 5 sellout weekends this year, which has not been done at that track ever, and unfortunately, it didn't happen. And that's probably the biggest pill that's tough to swallow, is knowing the potential that could have been there. But I'm hoping that momentum we carry on the racing side this year will carry into next season. And you know, the cool thing about though is people are getting a chance to see it. Like they're flipping through their channels at home on a Saturday night looking for someone to watch, and they're like, racing? Wait, that's Wenatchee, and it's local sports, and oh, I know that person. You know, everybody knows somebody that races up there, right? You know, there's a connection. Like, oh, I went to high school with them, or hey, that's so and so's son, or you know, I work with them, or hey, that's the kid from the grocery store. I mean, these people that race up there, they have normal jobs. They're out in the communities like that, and we have so many people locally who are connected to people up there, and so. I've gotten people who have been interested in wanting to become a sponsor up there because they've seen it on NCWLIFE, or like people are like, hey, I want to come watch up there. Like, I mean, that's probably my most common. I get that call probably 10 to 15 times a day. Hey, are fans allowed back in the stands? And unfortunately, no. Hopefully, though, come April 10th, 11th, our first race next year, we will have grandstands back open and ready to go.
You mentioned the sponsors who made this happen, because you mentioned all of their names. It would have been so much easier for the sponsors to simply say no. It's easier to say no than yes. Yeah, they all could have said, Jeremy, this just doesn't make financial sense. I mean, what's the point, if nobody's going to be there to advertise their goods and services? But they did. They stepped up.
They stepped up, and I think, they've seen the what people have watched on NCWLIFE like that. And I mean, some of our numbers we've had on NCWLIFE are probably, you get maybe more exposure than you would on a normal race night or whatever. I can tell you, I haven't had one no. And that was the amazing thing, is all of our sponsors have been amazing in that sense to say, hey, we're good to go. Let's keep going. And they know that they know the product that we put out there and like that. And I think there was a hope early on that we did this, that maybe come September time that we'd have fans in the grandstands. But as we've gone on, they've loved the coverage, And I talked to a lot of people that those sponsors as going by, like, hey, what did you see? What did you like? What do you changes like that? So. It's been a good year.
It's been a good year, and it's been a fascinating year for us. And who's kidding who? This marriage between the Wenatchee Valley's Super Oval and the NCWLIFE channel has been beneficial for both of us, because we like doing this. I know it's a lot of hard work, logistically, things behind the scenes that nobody ever gets to see. It's hard work for Malcolm and for Captain Wagner and Eric especially, who has to do all of this prep work, and your guy Greg, who's been phenomenal to work with, and our camera people and our technical people. We have managed, for the most part, to pull it off without too many hitches. We have learned a lot, and we have to thank you for doing it. Well, I mean, really.
Yeah, thanks. Good thing that Eric answered that text back pretty fast, and I think all the staff here, all the way the management team here at NCWLIFE, I mean, you guys work your butts off. People don't see the behind the scenes stuff, whether we have a camera go out or something else go out, and everybody's working their tails off. And heck, we even had the one night where it went out. We still did a Facebook Live on a phone. We found a way to put a product out there, and people liked it. They said, hey, we showed them something, and so that was the best thing there. And so I think it's something going on. We talked about it too. When we do get fans back in the grandstands, we still want to do maybe a couple races a year where we have NCWLIFE up there and showcasing the product. And we talked about when we have fans back in the stands, there's even more things we can do to make it better and enhance like that we can't do now. So yeah.
Jeremy, I'll give you the last one last quick question before I give you the last word. What is the state of racing in the Pacific Northwest? We know that the Ephrata track closed a number of years ago. The Yakima Valley Speedway has been kind of hit and miss over the last couple of years. I know the guy's trying to sell the property, that kind of stuff. Are there concerns about the future of racing, or is it just a little along the way here in our area?
Well, looking at the car count that we've had the last couple of weeks at Wenatchee, I got no concerns at all right now. I think that I think there's some tracks that are pretty stable. Wenatchee, State Line, Evergreen, South Sound. Yakima's kind of open in the air. Hermiston, Oregon's done a great job. They're actually, the promoters of Hermiston, Oregon are working with the city of West Richland, just bought Tri-Cities Raceway property back. And they're actually looking at bringing that track back to some racing action. We actually did a private test down there. Garrett did, and about 4 of the drivers. That was known as like the Super Speedway of the Northwest. So if we get a track to come back, that's something we've never seen before in the Northwest for a long time. So I think it's actually really good. There's still some uncertainty of Yakima, which is a big track. They're going to do their Fall Classic next weekend and do something similar to what we do up here, which is participants only, no fans in stands. But it's actually, there's good things going. I think actually short track racing right now is healthier in a lot of ways than maybe some of the bigger racing circuits like that. And we're actually, I follow racing across the country through some of my other stuff that I do, and short tracks across the country are doing pretty well right now. There's still some that are struggling. This definitely affected some of them hard, but I think it really mattered on how those tracks approach what they could do. But I think next season, once we get fans back in the grandstands across the country, it's pretty good. I've been at State Line Speedway. I travel as an announcer as well. Been to State Line Speedway 4 times this year, which that track sits 3/4 of a mile across the state border, and there's 5,000 fans there all the time. So
we're doing okay.
We're doing okay for now. Wish we could have that. So yeah.
One last thing before we cut you loose, and we need to mention this because you mentioned Garrett going down to the Tri-Cities and driving fast and turning left. Thank you, Garrett, because he didn't have to do this either. Garrett Evans, he could have said, I don't know, Jeremy, have you lost your mind? But he green-lighted it.
Our ownership team, which is Garrett Evans, myself, and Michelle Lawson, I kind of pitched them the idea, and they're like hesitant at first. Then after the first week, they're like, "Oh wow!" And then they started getting hairy responses. Oh, wow, we're okay. We're it's something for now. I mean, it's not the ideal thing. It's not what we pictured. We're always trying to figure out ways of how can we make it through the winter time. I mean, but it was a good way for us to make it through the summertime, and we thank you guys for that. But and Garrett. Sometimes I do things and he questions it, but so far they worked out, so we're good.
We're good to go. Again, we wrap it all up on, it's been a fascinating summer of watching racing and covering racing here in the NCWLIFE channel. Wraps it all up Saturday night, September 26th. Again, we'll be live on our Facebook page. There is the schedule live on our Facebook page with qualifying at 5:30. On television at 6 o'clock. Racing gets going a little after 7 o'clock. Jeremy, anything else you want to add before I cut you loose?
Well, I was going to say 5:30 is going to be important to watch qualifying. We get 31 cars for the late models. Only 18 or 20 are locked in, and the other ones are the B main. Racing's actually going to start right at about 6:05.
Oh, wow. So we're getting right into it.
We're going right into it. We're going to go move along fast. It's going to be a cold night, so we want to,
Yeah.
I mean, you get a little chilly up on the top of your man lift there, so we're going to get you down soon.
And hey, super duper thanks to Star Rentals. For the most part, I've been the one up in the scissor lift trying to give you a different kind of an angle. It's been an interesting, but you know what? It's been fun. It's been a fun summer for us to do races at the WVSO. Thanks to you and everybody else.
Thank you guys, and go to WVSO.com for all the details and stuff. And like I said, when season passes come out soon, hopefully you guys come by and support us. Keep us around for another 50 years.
You got to love this guy, the general manager of Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. Oh, I'm sorry, the name again?
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Anders.
I wrote it down right here. Jeremy Anders. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Kevin Prosser, and this is my print shop, Color Effects in Cashmere. Color Effects offers screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing on t-shirts, jerseys, bags, banners, signs, and more. With 30 years experience, you won't be disappointed with the quality and quick turnaround times you will get at more than a fair price. Please call Color FX.
If fishing is your dream, make your dream a reality with a Smokercraft boat from Bobfile Boats and Motors. It's not just about catching fish, it's about making memories. See a Smokercraft boat today at Bobfile Boats and Motors. They also have a great line of pontoon boats big enough for fishing for the whole family. Find Bobfile Boats and Motors online at bobfile.com or on Sunset Highway in East Wenatchee.
Bobfile Boats and Motors, we're dealing. Bobfile's gonna make you smile.
How do you know when it's time to go to Boswell's Furniture? When you know the look you love, the colors you want, but need a little design help to bring it all together. With Boswell's complimentary design service, Glenn, Buffy, and Teresa guide you until your vision becomes reality. More styles, more fabrics, and more choices of quality home furnishings fill Boswell's expansive 2-story showroom, so you can see it and feel it before you buy. Come into Boswell's and explore the endless possibilities of home furnishings. Boswell's on Easy Street. It's closer than you think.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no-cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support. And we are back at it. Let's go ahead and wrap up this program with one more look at your weekend weather forecast. It's raining lightly right now in the Wenatchee Valley. We're at 51 degrees, off and on rain until about noon. Then it's more like sprinkles and dinkles for the rest of the day. A high of 69 degrees. Going to be quite windy late this afternoon into tonight. We can see the occasional rogue gust near 35 miles an hour this evening. Outside of that, it's just going to be fairly dry, 46 for the overnight low. Quite a bit of sunshine Saturday, a little bit of wind Saturday afternoon, high of 70. We'll be up to about 71 on Sunday. Then a big dome of high pressure is going to be well entrenched for almost all of next week. So we're going from below normal temperatures today, tomorrow, and Sunday to above normal temperatures on Monday to well above normal temperatures into the early days of October. Yeah, we'll be in the mid-80s. So we got one more dose of sunny and warm weather coming our way once we dry out. After today, everybody have a fantabulous weekend, and we will see you Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.